Right, the news from England's point of view, Ian, is actually really who's been left out.
Yeah.
England's Player of the Year, Jude Bellingham. Now, is that from Thomas Tuchel's point of view because he's not quite fully fit? Or is the manager trying to make a point that no one's bigger than the team?
I'm not sure what it is, but if he's not fully fit and he needs minutes, then probably these two games, Wales and Latvia, you'd have thought that he would have got some minutes in those games. But you mentioned there, like, he's England's Player of the Year. I think it's important for him to be amongst the group. They've got two more like camps after this, and you're feeling like he's somebody that needs to be amongst it. And I was very surprised that he didn't pick him and have him amongst the group. It doesn't make sense to me.
He's got so many options, hasn't he, Thomas Tuchel? What's your reading of his decision on this one?
Well, he's probably created more problems by not selecting, because if he came back into the group, he would obviously have said no problem. I think his message from the day he got the job, Tuchel, was on about the harmony in the squad, togetherness. So when they do go to the World Cup and they're together for 5-6 weeks, there's a bond between all the players.
Yeah.
I'm not suggesting he's not bringing that, but his message is, I suppose, from the last game, they've done really well. There was good energy. The manager mentioned about the training being really intense and a really good level. The players who were left out showed a good attitude. And every time we get together and we talk about England, we end up talking about the quality players that aren't in the squad.
Yeah.
So he's got good options, but it's created a few headlines. But he's putting a market on, I suppose.
You know what it is, though, Roy? When he talks about, like, with the last team and what was our problem with not winning it, he was saying, like, we seemed like we were afraid. We're afraid, and we didn't have a hunger to win. Now, Jude Bellingham is a player that is very hungry to win, to the point where people might think, OK, he's gone a bit strong with that. But that's the player you want in the squad at all times, for me. I don't know what you think, Roy.
Well, you'd love these problems.
Yeah.
Any Welsh manager would love this sort of problem.
We'd love a problem to be able to leave a player of his quality out of the squad. But what I will say is the environment is so important in that changing room. We've played in a different culture, but the environment for Wales, when I was there, was a leveller for us. And it was important that nobody, if there was a negative influence in that, and I'm not suggesting for 1 minute there is, but if there is, then I'd make sure the next camp that we dealt with it. So he's been very strong in his views this camp.
One thing I'd say, Max, sorry, I think the one say if they were playing Spain or France in the next day or two, he'd be involved.
Now, you may well have heard comments Steven Gerrard has made to Rio Ferdinand in a podcast recently, admitting that club rivalries, the big egos, did undermine the golden generation, and that team did not achieve what they should have done. Now, Gareth Southgate was very big on team harmony and team spirit. Do you get the feeling that Thomas Tuchel is as big on that as well? He understands the need for that, because they've admitted it, that group of players. They underachieved, and that did not help.
Well, we saw what Gareth nearly achieved, you know, with the finals, the semi-finals, what he got to. And I think that the harmony in the team is vitally important, because that was supposedly the golden generation. Didn't do anything. Now, do you blame the players? Do you blame the manager? I'll probably put it on the manager, because Gareth took hold of the situation, made sure that the guys were together as a group. This is why I thought, like, Jude not being involved was such an omission, because he is one of the main guys in the group. So I think that works, and I think that maybe we missed out, that generation, and we know we missed out, because they were magnificent, those players.
There seems to be, though, an understanding now at management level, and I think Ian's right. You could say a lot about the managers at those times, that looking back on it, arguably they should have done more, just to subsume the egos to the team harmony. You've both been at international coaching level. Just how important a job is that from your point of view?
That sometimes comes from the senior players, and don't be kidded on. Everyone thinks England, going back to, obviously, it's come from Gerrard saying the group wasn't happy, as if every other international team are all happy clappy camps. You know, it's not the case. We were fortunate in Ireland, but it wasn't always that great for every game. But sometimes when you got together, there would be a decent bond. But I think sometimes it's on the players and also on the manager. But having a great bond together doesn't guarantee you win football matches either. I played in teams where there's sometimes a lot of needle between each other, but it was good needle. So you don't have to be best mates together. So I'm a bit wary of people looking back and going, oh, we weren't all in it together. They had enough talent to win stuff, they didn't. And they've got to own that as well. Don't be putting it on the manager going, oh, we didn't all get together, you know.
But respectfully, would you have had fewer big egos to deal with than, say, an England manager?
I'd say so, yeah. And I think the lads are right here. You let the changing room run itself as well. I think you're missing those characters in today's game. You know, back when we all played, there was characters in the change room we spoke about earlier, right? That you deal with it yourselves. I was lucky when I was manager of Wales. I had some great characters in the changing room, that was a leadership group, and they'd get on with it and drive it themselves as well. So for me, it was already put in place from what Cookie and Chris Coleman done in 2016. So our environment for us was a leveller when you're playing against the top teams.
And I'll tell you, Mark, when you get together international, you're not there to be best mates with everybody. You've got a bit of a respect. You're not about ego. Everyone's got a bit of ego. It's just what you do.
You should have ego.
Yeah, you should have ego.
You've
got ego to get out of bed in the mornings, but you leave that in the dressing room door. So when you get to the dressing room, then you become a team player. So, as I said, I take all that stuff.
I just think it's quite interesting for this England team, those players, to hear that from that generation, to say, OK, don't let us be in that situation in 20 years' time when we let something get in the way of what we could have achieved.
Well, yeah, I think the players and the manager in those situations have to probably look at themselves and say we should have done a lot more. But I think, you know, like I said, I'll go back to what Gareth, I think that when you can bring people together, it is your country. There should be a bond that pulls you together to want you to do better than you normally do. In the club games, there should be something to bring you together to do better for your country, and we missed out.
Do you think that guarantees a success if everyone's paced and having a sing-song and whatever?
No, I'm not saying it guarantees success, but what we saw with Gareth, that he recognised that, got the guys together, and we got there. We got closer to actually winning something.
But it got them further than it got the golden generation.